So tell us a little bit about your trip to Ajumani and what's exciting for you and kind of your plans for the future.
Yeah, it was one of the shortest trips I've made to Uganda, but very fruitful. Um, One of the things I needed to do, because it's the beginning of the school year, and I had not been there since January. So I thought it was an important trip for me to make because I wanted to know how the people in the community are ready to work alongside what we are doing and get involved. So one of the things I did was to get involved in the teachers trauma healing training that had been going on during the week. But I got in on a Thursday evening, so I only attended the last session on Friday. We bring in teachers to learn how to deal with their own trauma because all the children in our school come from traumatized homes. So for them to cope, we thought because they received the second trauma from these children, and then it becomes difficult to control them and get them to learn. Then the teachers get worked up, they won't teach. So we thought this was a good thing for us to do for the teachers, that they would deal with their own trauma and then know how to handle the children from these traumatized homes, and even just know how to help them to cope and grow up knowing that they can live with one another and work alongside each other in the school. And then when they go home, they can actually practice that with their siblings at home and their parents. So we've seen that happen. And this training was one of the best because the teachers were going in depth to understand how they can deal with their own trauma, because most of them come from homes with a lot of pain. So apart from what the children are bringing to them, they are also hurting from what they have experienced back home. So it was a session of them dealing with themselves, with their own hearts. And the trainer thought that was a very good thing to do. Then the next one, he's going to take them to do the training in the school. So he will observe to see how are they handling the children, and he will see where the gaps are so that he's able to help them in the following training. So I was glad I attended that and saw part of what they were doing. The other thing I really wanted to do was to meet up with the representatives of the parents of the students in the school, because every time we've had to be the ones doing peace does everything. But I thought it was time for them to come along and start taking responsibility of the education of their children. How can they be involved? I didn't tell them what I wanted them to do, but from around 2018, we requested them to start contributing a little money, which was like maybe an equivalent of about $10 in a year, every parent. And if schools were not closed for 2 years in Uganda, they would be having a lot of money in their account. But right now they have about $5,000 equivalent money, which they have contributed since 2018. So I asked them what they want to do with that money, and they said part of it they would like Peace to use it to buy writing materials. They want to contribute about 20% towards writing materials, stationery for their students in the school. The other money, they said they would like to help the teachers, because we've been paying teachers for extra lessons since COVID because children lagged behind. So we wanted them to come along to be at par so that they can complete the syllabus. They had lagged behind. So we've been paying teachers some little money, an allowance when they teach after hours. But I told them now we have lighting in the school. They need to figure out, is that light going to waste or it should be used? So what they did, they said they don't want Peace to pay the teachers. They were going to meet the parents of the students and ask them to contribute towards paying the teachers who are going to take extra lessons with their children. I've never seen that. They came up themselves saying that. Then in addition, they bring toilet paper to school so that their children can use it when they use the toilet. They are paying the cooks who cook the teachers, the students' food. They are paying for firewood that we use for cooking the food for the students. So I've seen this happen, and I'm seeing real transformation in a small way, but it's real. I can see it, I can experience it. Yeah. Then when we talk about the equipping leaders, I met a few of them because some of them were away. They normally come when there is training, but this time I met a few of them in the church on Sunday, and they are saying, can we have more people from other settlements come and learn how to be at peace with one another? We can only afford up to 20 people every 2 years. So we are telling them, when God provides, we shall improve, we shall increase, because there is also a lot of pressure from the government saying that most of the people who come, the settlements where leaders come to be part of the training, are more peaceful than the others who have never been involved. So they are pushing us to have more people from different other settlements to come in. But we are telling them we can only do up to 20 every 2 years. So we see everybody seems to be appreciating what all this is doing. And then the women's empowerment project, I met several of them who graduated about over a year ago from training as tailors, and they're the ones making uniform for the school students. And they're making a lot of money. Like, I was speaking to one of them, and she told me that every day she's making up to 12 uniforms. Wow. Because every parent wants their children to be in uniform. And they also told me that the reason they want to have uniform is because they want their children to be identified as going to the school. In case anything happens, they want to be identified and somebody will rescue them easily. The other thing they said was uniform is important because when it comes to meals time, there are other children who don't come to our school, but they sneak in because some of the children don't have uniform, and they eat their children's food, and so their children don't get enough. So they have all these wild imaginations as to why they should have uniform, but all of it is really good. So I'm seeing that they are really getting to trust peace and wanting to work alongside us, which is, for me, is what I've been longing for, and I can see it happen.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to ask, has there been any change in the men? I know we got the women empowerment. Is there, or
men don't work. Men don't work. But I'm hoping that as they see there are women making money from their businesses, since we help them to start businesses, I'm hoping that will be a way of them saying we should also start off something to help us make some money. But the women are the ones who are doing almost everything. The men are there, they stand there and they're like, yeah, okay. Yeah, women are doing very well, but they do nothing. So that's still a hard thing to crack. So you pray for them that they will come along and start something that can help the community and their families to have bread on their table.
So tell me, how many classrooms do you have, or different classes do you have, and how many kids are attending at this point?
As of now, we have up to 13 classrooms. 10 of them, we built them as peace. The 3 were handed over to us by the government when Save the Children left. So in total, right now, we have 13 classrooms. And we have 814 students as of Wednesday.
Wow.
a number I didn't expect. I thought we would be closing at 800, but they are still coming. But tomorrow is the deadline for us to bring in more students. And we have up to grade 6 right now. So we are looking at next year. We hope we can build another 2 classrooms this year at the end of the year so that we have the grade 7 use those classrooms. But after next year, we don't have to build again because they will do their exams and go to high school after next year. So we are looking forward to that they will work hard and get to go to high school.
Would that just be a Ugandan high school, or what high school would they go to?
Mm-hmm. They'll go to different schools in high school depending on how they perform.
Okay.
And most of the schools in Uganda are boarding schools, so they will have to go and stay at the school for the term, then come home for holidays every end of term.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this the fact that people are taking ownership is a huge encouragement. What other things
Yes.
are you think of? Boy, I'm just so thankful to God for what's happening there. Anything else
Yeah.
that stands out to you?
Pardon?
Anything else besides the people taking ownership? How are is there a church that's kind of grown up there, or how does that work?
The church has grown, and the church has grown. They have more than 200 members in the church within that one community, and they also have a children's church which they put up themselves. So the children have their own space where they worship on Sundays. As much as we see a lot of growth in everything that we started, there are still many gaps. Like now, the UN has come up to say they are pulling out 40 to 50% out of the education sector and health sector. So this affects us. We don't know what implications this will have on our organization in terms of taking on more and being pressured to take on more responsibility. So we will hear in the next few months where that is going. But we would like you to pray that even as we do this, we have funds to build another block of classrooms. We have funds to, we get funds to build a multi-purpose hall, which can be used by the students as a dining hall and other activities that they may have in the school. We don't have a staff room for the teachers. They still work from their classrooms, different classrooms, when they are planning their lessons. And just ensuring that what we are teaching them to do is actually happening so that it's not like something in vain. Like just encouraging the students to learn how to read the Bible and do what they have to do. I think that for me, that is a prayer item that we need to have, because our ultimate reason for doing this is to lead everyone we are interacting with to Christ.
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Rosemary, you kind of have a couple of building needs with a multi-purpose room, a couple classrooms. Is that are those kind of those? I guess is that what you guys are hoping to get prepared for to do in the next year or two? What's the timeline for that?
The block of classrooms, I think Fellowship Bible Church has already confirmed that they will give us funds for the classrooms. So that is taken care of. The multi-purpose hall, we don't have, it's not anything which was in our budget for this year. So just looking at the children eating from outside, and very soon when it starts raining, it will be really bad. And there are so many, it just brought the thought, can we have this happen so that they have a place they can eat from, and then have the activities, even when it is raining outside, they can do some things within that hall. Then to subsidize the feeding program that we have for the students, we have a piece of land. It's now, but it's what is left is about 2 acres, because part of it we are using it to build accommodation for the teachers so that they are close by the school to help the students. It cannot be used for agriculture, so we are hoping that we can rear goats, we can keep goats on that piece of land to subsidize what the students are eating every day when they're in school. So one of the things we need is to fence off that 2 acres of land so that they are not interfering with where the teachers are living, and then also build a shed, a place where they can sleep at night. They can eat, then come back to sleep. We are looking for funds for that. I've asked our program manager to check and let me know how much that will cost and come back to me. So once I have that information, I'll send it out.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Okay.
So do most of the teachers just travel from their own homes and then come to the school? Is that how it works?
They used to do that, but since we started building accommodation for them, all of them, apart from the ones who live within the refugee settlement, we have built accommodation for them in the school, close to the school compound. So what we are doing, they are sharing. We have only 10 of them, so they are sharing 2 people using one tukul. So we are hoping that when funds are available, we can also increase the number of tukuls so that everybody has their own and they can feel comfortable and come to teach when they have to, very early in the morning or after hours. Mhm.
What are some ways that Cornerstone can encourage you personally when these days of Zoom and Messenger, and what are the kind of things that I imagine? I've never been a missionary, but I imagine there are times when you get a little discouraged, maybe a little lonely. What are the things that refill your tank?
I want more prayers, because sometimes you go there and find what you thought was working right has collapsed. So if you could just pray for me for encouragement, that those should be things that will make me step on to make things better instead of me getting discouraged. And just praying for safety for me as I go. I always travel alone. Sometimes I don't even think about it until I'm there. I'm like, okay, I have all these bags I have to carry.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pray for me that I'll be safe every time I travel, because you never know. I'm gone and left the girls with their families. Sometimes I'm like, are they okay? And wherever they are, they're like, is mom okay? Just so that God would give all of us peace to know that He's taking care of us and everything we are involved in. Um, Pray for good health for me. I'm not young anymore. Yeah, that God would give me good health, that whatever time that I'm left with here on earth, I'll use it well and to glorify His name. Yes. Mhm.
So are there plans for you to be able to hand off some of the responsibilities of peace to Amanda or whoever your next person is?
Yeah, we are talking as family, and I think Amanda seems to be really interested in, like yesterday, she told Mark she would like to go back, and she's encouraging all the family, the whole family. One day we all go and just get involved, even if it's 2 weeks. He seems to be fired up, and I think we will start doing that one day at a time and see until she's able to pick it up on her own with support from my end. I think we want to start doing that.
Yeah, because I think that would be important. It's such a good work and you
Mhm.
worked so hard developing it. And for make sure that it goes on when it's
Yeah.
time for you to retire.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah. Mhm.
Anybody else have any questions? Anything that come to mind?
And everybody on the screen is muted. But if you guys have anything that you wanted to ask as well, you can throw it in the comments. Or I can try to unmute you real quick.
Yeah, we could actually probably unmute you because there's not that many.
Unmute.
So we have Mark and Laura or Daryl and Linda or Barry. We will unmute you. You can, they can unmute them.
They can unmute themselves. Really?
Mm.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Good.
Mhm.
Yeah, well.
Officer
We just
Brandon.
wanted to know that we love her and we will be praying for her, and she's an encouragement to us. We hope we can be an encouragement to her.
And we already are seeing answers to prayer because Amanda went to see Ajumani, and we've been praying that someone would come along. And I mean, it's important in the culture to have a family relationship, I think, because they all love and trust Rosemary so much at the school that if it would be a much more natural transition for them maybe to have someone that has been with Rosemary, but they see she came with Rosemary and then she will gradually take over versus bringing someone absolutely unfamiliar with the ministry in, or, I mean, Rosemary really does pretty much all of it, with some office support in Kenya and some office support in Ajimani, and there's no one else. And so to have her family who's been hearing about it, loving these kids, praying for these kids in this ministry, I think is really valuable. And I think it's valuable for the transition period as well.
Yeah.
Thanks, Laura.
There's Daryl and Barry.
I didn't understand.
You're up, Barry.
Oh, hi, Rosemary again.
Hi.
How was your sleep?
Good. I slept very well.
Yeah. We just talked last night, so I don't really have any more questions, but I'm really glad to see the elders Zooming with you, and I think it's great to make the connection and to keep the connection closer.
Mhm. Thank you.
Is there anything today with what you have going on that we can be praying for as well?
For me,
Yeah.
next week I have an important meeting with one of our partners from in the US, the one that has funded our teachers' trauma healing. I gave them a progress report and I have a scheduled meeting with them on the 24th. If you could just be praying for that it comes through well. They like to stay anonymous, so I don't mention their name. They've told me point blank in person and in writing, they don't want to be known who they are. Yeah, so it's a Christian trust that helps people organizations that are involved in trauma healing training. So I have a meeting with them on the 24th. Pray that it goes well and that even this year they will be willing to come along to continue with the funding the teachers training.
Okay.
Yeah. And just pray, because so far we've not realized our annual budget for this year. Everything in the budget, I know I can confirm that we have about $208,000 But I don't know, we have a budget of over 400, so we are still short of 200,000. If you could just pray that in God's own way, this would come along, and whatever comes, it will be that which God has allowed us to do this year. But our budget is, I think, $402,000.
Okay, about half of that right now.
Mhm.
And tomorrow was the last day for registration for the students, is that right?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Or do you have a
Yeah,
capacity?
and pardon? Yeah, there are so many. We didn't expect to have more than 800 this year, but they are going overboard. So that also have an implication in everything that we have to do. Pray that it works well, and I'm glad they are coming to want to have an education. It's a good thing for me. It's just that we have to find ways. We make sure they are learning and having the supplies they need for them to learn well. Mhm.
Well, we have quite a bit of time. Anybody have any other questions that they ask for Rosemary? If not, I think we should spend some time just praying for her. I think all of us have got things written down that we're going to try to remember, but now is a perfect time. Any last
Yeah.
questions before we pray?
Rosemary, when do you expect to go back to Ajamani? When's your next trip?
I'm trying to see if I can go in March, in early March, if I get hold of the videographer and we agree on the cost, which we don't know yet. And then remember, I think my travel budget is really limited. My travel budget to Ajumani is very limited, so I can't do it the way I did last year. Looking at maybe just doing every other month. And if things improve, I don't have to go every other month, but I think I need to go in March, yeah, to get the aerial view of everything of peace. Mhm.
Rosemary, can you remind me what the name of the head teacher is?
She's called Harriet.
Harriet,
Yeah.
because she's having health issues, right? And so she's not even at
Mhm.
the site
Yeah.
right now.
Mhm.